Hey everybody, Kyle Sasser here, and it's everybody's favorite time of the month. That's right, real estate market statistics time. These real estate market statistics are for the Dayton Metro area for August 2025. Now, you're welcome to download a copy of these statistics and follow along, and you'll notice on those stats that it says July 2025. Why is that whenever you're watching this in August? Well, typically we look at real estate statistics by the month and we compare year over year. So we are comparing July 2025 because that is the most recent complete month, and we're comparing that to July 2024. The reason we don't compare month to month is because there's a natural ebb and flow of the real estate cycle throughout the year. Typically, whenever school is starting or wintertime is upon us, things move at slightly different paces and numbers than they do in the summertime or springtime. So we compare year over year, July 2025 versus July 2024, and that gives us a pretty good gauge of what's going on with the market. So if you would like your own copy of these numbers, you can get that at the link down in the description below. Just click there. There will be a link to download this in a beautiful PDF report. All right, so let's dive into these Dayton real estate numbers. Total number of closed sales was 1,269 homes sold, and that's up 6.3% compared to 1,194 homes sold last year. In July of 2024, median sales price is up significantly, 10.3% to $269,000. That's up from $243,850 in July 2024. Average sales price is also up 7.5% to $300,530, and median percent of original list price. So what this is the price at which the house sells for, what percentage of that original asking price is the eventual sales price, and that actually went down 1% from 100 to 99%. Functionally though, houses are pretty much getting their original asking price. The crazy thing about these numbers this month is the median time to sale. This is basically days on market, and that has dropped 39% from 46 days to 28 days. And that is wild. That is super quick for times on market, and that is why median sales price has climbed so hard, 10% in 1 year, despite interest rates being higher and despite fewer homes being sold than a few years ago. So again, there's not just like one indicator or metric in these numbers. They all kind of interplay together. Total number of new listings is actually up 13.3%. We listed 1,690 homes, which is more than the 1,492 homes that we listed in July of 2024. Total active inventory, which is basically snapshot at the end of July, how many houses were for sale on the last day of July, that was up 26.7%. Total of 1,956 homes for sale compared to 1,544 homes up for sale in July 2024. In the doom and gloom section, foreclosures and short sales, there was a total of 5, which is an increase of 25%. But again, 5 short sales and foreclosures out of 1,269 homes sold. That is a significant part of the market. And that's also why, median sales price just continues to drive higher. Now, I do like to dive into a couple of the different price points because a $300,000 home sells on a slightly different time frame than a $1 million home. And that is primarily simply because there's more people that are able to buy $300,000 homes than $1 million homes. It's just simple math on that one. So median time to sale. So we had like a bump up. We peaked in January 2025 at 63 days, but we have crashed all the way back down to 28 days. So 28 days time to sale in July 2025, and that's compared to 46 days in July 2024. So that's a decrease of 39.1%. That is very much seller's market territory, and homes are moving pretty quick. It'll be interesting to see how that shapes up through the wintertime, but that is extremely strong. That's actually one of the shortest time to sales that we have had, or days on market. But let's break it down by price point, right? So 100 to 150,000 is time to sale is 35 days. 200 to 250,000 is 19 days. 19 days. 250 to 300,000 is at 29 days. 300 to 400,000 is at 30 days. 400 to 600,000 is at 29 days. 600 to $1 million is at 26 days, and $1 million or more, 13 days on the market. That's nuts. That is crazy fast. Total number of closed sales by sales price. Now, I don't usually read every one of these numbers because it gets a little monotonous. I'm Assuming it gets monotonous for you just to hear me reading numbers, it gets monotonous for me just reading numbers. So the interesting thing is lower than 150,000, there was actually fewer homes sold. Now, usually whenever you see something like that, that means that there is something going on. And in this case, there's just fewer and fewer homes for sale in those lower price points. So 100 to 150,000, there was a total of 106 sales, which was a drop of 11.7%. 150 to 200,000 was up 24.7% to 207 homes sold. Everything's up about 20-ish%, 10 to 20%. So 250 to 300 is up 18.1%. 300 to 400, it's up 10.9% to 245. 400 to 600 is up 22.6% to 179 closed sales. So people are definitely still buying houses, and more than they were last year. New listings by price, this is where what we mentioned previously shows up. So under 150,000, there are significantly fewer homes that were listed for sale. 100 to 150,000 was down 14.5% to 147. 150 to 200,000 held, it only dropped 0.4%. Total of 282 homes. 200 to 250,000 was up 17.3% to 251. 250 to 300,000 was up 50.3% to 257. And again, that's not necessarily, I mean, we are building new homes in the Dayton Metro area, but primarily that is homes that were in the 160 to 220 range have moved up into a higher price point currently. And inventory by current price, basically everything's across the board. So that's some good news for buying. If you're buying a house, no matter what price point you're at, there are more houses to choose from today than there were last year. So for example, that 200 to 250,000 is up 53.2%, 236. 150 to 200,000 is up 13.5% to 253. 400 to 600,000 is up 41.3% to 349. And $1 million or more, there's almost 30% more houses to choose from, total of 44. So those are the real estate market statistics for the Dayton Metro area for August 2025. Now, for those of you that remember your entry-level math classes, average, mean, median, and mode. So I don't really use mode when it comes to real estate statistics, but we use mean or average and median. And average, as you know, is you take, let's say, 5 houses, you add up the price of those houses and you divide by 5. That gives you the average sales price. Median is a little bit different though. With the median sales price, you take, let's say, 100 houses, and the median is the point at which there is an equal number of homes sold at a higher price as at a lesser price. So it's more of the true midpoint of the market, and I generally lean more towards the median sales price than the average sales price, because average sales price does tend to get pulled around a little bit. If a very expensive house sells, so let's say something in the $5 to $10 million range, that does tend to pull the average sales price up more than it does on the median sales price. So I pay a little bit more attention to the median sales price. So what can we make of these numbers for the Dayton Metro area? And the honest truth is the pressures that have been on the market for the previous 2, 3, 4, 5 years are continuing. And that's in spite of interest rates being, currently they're in like the mid 6s to mid 7s. It's just there are so few homes for sale compared to how many homes are selling. And when you have very, pretty low supply and a significant amount of demand, the result is increased competitions and prices coming up. Now, these numbers are for the Dayton Metro area, obviously, and that's an area basically from Piqua to Springboro and from West Alexandria to Xenia, roughly. Jamestown, I guess, technically. I've been doing a lot of stuff out in Jamestown the last couple months. 2 lots and a house out there, so love Jamestown. Hello, all my Jamestown people. But yeah, so we have that interest rates aren't high enough that it's discouraging home purchasing. We still have a good amount of demand for a variety of various reasons. People wanting proximity to Columbus and Cincinnati, as well as the Air Force Base. And that demand is high enough, and there are few enough houses that it is resulting in increasing home prices. And there's nothing in these numbers to show that that is going to turn around soon. What you really need is the first thing that's going to move is days on market. Days on market needs to increase significantly to the point that sellers feel stressed to sell their house, which is when you start seeing price reductions. Until then, it's a bunch of people crowing online about the housing market and things being too overpriced, but people still willing to pay the money. So analysis here is relatively easy. It's pretty clear by the numbers that prices are going to continue to go up for the foreseeable future. We will probably have our normal dip through the wintertime, but by the point we get to wintertime, prices will be higher than they are now. So again, if you're thinking about buying a house, the good news is there's more to choose from than there was last year. and that's extremely good. Sellers are usually pretty willing to do repairs and credits and things like that still, so that's also good news, but you have to know that the market is not coming down anytime soon, at least according to these numbers. So thank you so much for tuning in for these real estate market statistics for the Dayton Metro area. My name is Kyle Sasser. If you would like help finding an amazing home in the Dayton, Beavercreek, Oakwood, Xenia, Jamestown, West Alexandria, Springboro, Centerville, any of the townships, even Dayton itself, if you're looking for a home in any of those areas, Troy, Tipp City, I would love to help you out. You can reach me at 937-907-6777. There's also a link in the description down below to my calendar. If you'd prefer to do it that way, you can book a chat at the time that works best for you there. If you have any comments, questions, I always love to hear them. Be sure to leave those in the comments down below. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name's Kyle Sasser, and I'll talk to you soon.